Have you been looking at supplements to try, and have you been left wondering, should I use creatine? In this video, I'm going to give you the basics of creatine, so that way you know what it is, what it does, how you should take it, and that way you can make an actual informed choice if creatine is right for you and if you should use it. What's going on, everyone? It's Aaron from AMFIT Coaching, and today I'm going over the basics of creatine. Now, I am keeping everything in this video today fairly basic, so that way it's a lot easier to understand. You'll be able to consume it a lot easier, and you'll actually, by the end of the video, be able to make a decision on your own if creatine is right for you. And if you are new to this channel, my name's Aaron. I am a fat loss coach. I help people lose weight and get strong. And I've been posting on average about one video a week consistently almost every week. So if you want to keep seeing fitness videos and videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below to keep getting updates. As well, if you missed my last video on how to deal with a bad weigh-in, I'm going to link it up here. So that way, if you want to watch it and catch up, you can do that. And before we dive into the details of creatine, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of video and want to keep seeing more videos like this. So what is creatine and what does it do? So creatine is actually produced by your own body, primarily in your liver, and its main purpose is for energy production. Creatine is naturally occurring in our bodies, and it's also found in other meat products such as beef and fish. So with energy production, it's primarily used for short bursts of energy, such as sprinting or lifting weights. So with its role in those short bursts of energy, if you are supplementing creatine and you have more creatine available in your system, it can actually increase your power and strength output in those short bursts. So if you're lifting weights or if you're sprinting, it will have a positive impact on your performance. So it's really any intense exercise that's shorter than 10 seconds that uses your ATP phosphocreatine system. So that's mainly where creatine is utilized, is in that sub 10 second burst of energy, and not typically anything longer. So in summary, creatine is naturally occurring. It's in most animals, it's produced by our bodies, and it's primarily used for short bursts of energy. So the second one is one that's always on everybody's mind. Is it safe? And are there any setbacks or drawbacks to using creatine? So first thing, yes, creatine is perfectly fine. It's probably one of the most well-researched supplements out there, and there are really no negative side effects with it. So one thing to note as well, when you do supplement creatine, your creatinine levels, which isn't creatine, it's creatinine, I'll have it up here, those levels do increase within your body. So typically someone with poor kidney function or liver function may have elevated levels of creatinine, and usually that is a marker of poor health. So sometimes supplementing creatine can make it look like you do have an issue, but you don't actually. So there are people as well who already have elevated levels. They potentially could be at risk, even though there isn't a lot of long-term data available on creatine. So if you do have some sort of kidney issue or liver issue, I would recommend talk to your doctor first, just to be safe. But if you are on the healthy side, you have no adverse health effects, then supplementing creatine honestly will be perfectly fine, and you'll have no risks whatsoever. So are there any drawbacks to using creatine? Not really. If you do take a higher dose, you may have some stomach discomfort if you take more than the recommended, or more than your body needs. You could have some stomach discomfort, but it's going to be nothing serious. As well, with creatine, you do retain more water. So supplementing creatine, your muscles are going to retain a little more water than usual. So if you're trying to lose weight and you're supplementing creatine, the scale may go up, maybe 1 pound or 2 pounds, but it's not going to be fat. It's not really weight gain. You're just retaining and holding on to more water. So this next topic is very important, especially if you like to buy your creatine at a supplement store. Which form of creatine is best? So I'm gonna keep this one fairly basic because there are a ton of different forms of creatine, such as there's creatine monohydrate, creatine hydrochloride. There's so many, and to be honest, they all do the same thing. So the one that's the most well-researched and is actually the cheapest is creatine monohydrate. It works perfectly fine. It's just as good as the other forms of creatine. Mainly some of the other forms may help it mix better with water, but that's kind of the main thing. It's not going to just magically get you stronger or build more muscle. It all does the same thing. So if you are at a supplement store and they're trying to sell you on like a creatine pill that has like all these different forms of creatine or this special newly researched creatine, it all honestly does the exact same thing. So go with the cheaper one, get plain and simple creatine monohydrate. That's all that should be on the label. It should be fairly cheap and it works perfectly fine, and it's probably honestly going to be better than some of the other newer forms that are coming out that haven't really been backed by research. So on our last point, how do you use creatine? So creatine is actually very simple to use. The standard dose is about 5 grams a day. That's going to work perfectly fine for the majority of people. If you are someone who may be a non-responder or you just have a lot more muscle mass, you could take upwards of 10 grams a day. Also be aware, typically on a package of creatine, it may tell you to do a loading phase, or if you talk to a supplement sales rep, they'll probably also tell you to load your creatine the first week. Simply put, that's just taking more than the regular dose, let's say like 20 grams for a week, to get your levels up faster. Most research does that because they don't have months and months and months to carry on a study to see a small effect. So typically they have their participants creatine load and take more than what they need, so that way they can get the results sooner and actually study the effects that they want to see. And creatine loading is honestly just going to cost you more money in the long term. So that's usually why if you go to a supplement store, they're going to tell you to load up on creatine the first week. But in terms of long-term gains and the results that you will see, just stick with the 5 grams a day. It's going to be perfectly fine. And then if you're loading as well, you are more at risk of retaining more water and maybe getting some stomach discomfort as well. And the amount of muscle you'd actually gain, or the strength you would gain, is fairly minimal. So those minimal effects don't really outweigh the potential side effects that you would have as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I kept things fairly basic today because I didn't want to be too complicated, because I find sometimes if you're too complex, it kind of defeats the purpose sometimes. So hopefully at this point, you know if you want to take creatine or if you don't. It's one of the most well-researched supplements, so if you do want to take it, there's no risks, there's no side effects. Just stick with plain and simple creatine monohydrate, you'll be perfectly fine. But if you don't want to take creatine as well, that's perfectly fine as well. So honestly, it's really up to you. It depends on your goals. If you want to get stronger and build more muscle, then definitely it would be a great thing to add in. But if you're not too concerned, then don't worry about it. So I appreciate you watching this video. If you do want to see a more detailed video of breaking down the function and specific applications of creatine, then just leave a comment down below. Be like, yes, more creatine videos or something, and I will get started on more detailed videos like that. So I appreciate all of you for watching this video. And as always, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.